Thinking of playing Boots and Saddles from the Assault series by GDW. Okay, so where am I at? I'm proceeding with two tentative conclusions. The first conclusion is that I'm now reading the anti-armor fire rules correctly, and that it is very unfortunate to me, very unfortunate layout, that the hit procedure is split up and presented differently in two different paragraphs. So I guess it is supposed to be, so I completely ignore this up here, roll the decimal die, if the number, blah, 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 blah. Just completely ignore that, because this is the one, I guess, that matters for all hits, for all attacks. For all anti-armor fire, I guess. After the final hit number is determined, roll the die, and then you have one hit for equal to or less than the hit number, and two hits for equal to or less than the hit number. So that's my first tentative conclusion. I'm going to proceed with that. And the second tentative conclusion related to that is that makes the level of lethality jump up significantly. So to the point that so when I started, and I thought that the Soviets would come down here and attack in echelon, basically send the first company forward. I mean, I thought that maybe the first company would get wiped out, but that would somehow allow the second company to pass through, and maybe the second company gets in close, gets some close assault, and maybe takes the American position that way. I don't even think now, I mean, that was before using the understanding that basically, yeah, as I thought before, every fire attack, or any fire attack, or a fire attack could only cause a maximum of one hit. But now, with that effectively, what is that? I think it's more than 50%. Well, anyways, it's jumped up to the point where I don't even think two companies could push through, and it has to do with this open ground here, I'm thinking now. So what I'm going to do is something that I think is unusual for myself. I'm going to play yet again. So first of all, I think maybe the introductory scenario just isn't going to provide any meaningful play. So that is making me think seriously about just moving on to the full rules. But before that, I think I'm going to try one more time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset again. And basically, this is just a vicious hedgehog formation here. So I'm actually going to start over, and I'm not even going to pre-position the Americans forward. I'm going to get some practice again moving up, but I am going to have the Americans do the exact same thing. They are going to move up and assume that exact same, hedgehog position there, get in cover, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when the Soviets, so now if the Soviets can't possibly cross this open area here, then I'll try sending the Soviets this way, and send them this way, and try to go through this forest and come up over the high ground and try that. Of note, I mean, the dense woods here breaks this up. So the Soviets are really coming, this way or this way, maybe both. Although coordinating that will seem to be especially difficult. Yeah, I think it will be. But anyways, still going to try to get up close and see one more time if two Soviet companies can take out this M1, American M1 company. So I've reset the Soviets. This is the far northeast corner of the map. So the Soviets are going to come down here like that. So we'll do some movement, probably take a couple turns as both sides move up, and then see what happens on first contact. You know, I want to point this out. Now it's clear. I mean, now the situation is clear. And this is a case, I think, where you cannot make assumptions. Nowhere in the rules. So I just moved the first tank up, expanding all 3 movement points to follow the primary road. However, this is where I'm gonna have to back him up. 1, 2. So when he gets here, nowhere in the rules is there a separate section about bridges, crossing a river, or anything that I can find. I've not found any exceptions whatsoever, and so rules as written says that is treated when the tanks cross that hex side into this hex. They pay 1/2 for the primary road, and they still pay +1 for the stream. So that's 1.5. So that's so they don't even have enough to cross there. So that makes a 2 hex difference. So yeah, bottom line is there is no exception. There is no cross a stream or ignore a stream by using the road. So I'm really okay with that because, well, actually, let me back up and say I think I would have handled it differently, but there should be a slowdown when you're crossing like this, even in movement formation. I'm not sure it should be quite the entire +1 for the stream, but Well, just point that out. Before, all the way up until this point, I've been using what might be seen as a war game standard of, cross the hex side using the road rate only. But anyways, just thought I'd point that out. Well, another thing to note in passing, because of the cost of moving through the town, which again I like that you have to pay that. I never did like the idea of armored vehicles flying through towns. But anyways, the fact that it's 2, 3, 4 means that it's better, if possible. Actually, I think in many cases, unless you're trying to not be spotted, seems to me that your vehicles want to just go around the town, and that to me makes a lot more sense. But anyways, even in game terms, so if a unit starts here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4.5 to pick up the road again, or it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. Oh, I went off the screen, but anyways, it's probably better to just go around. Just by way of update, this is about to start the American turn of the second game turn. But basically, in 2 game turns, Soviets only get that far. The Americans get all the way into position in movement formation in the first turn. Now in the second American player turn, they pay the operations points to go into cover. Yeah, but the Abrams are almost twice as fast as the T-64s, so that's just the way it is. Okay, I think I had that quite wrong. I think it's the first movement phase. They spend the operations points to change formation. That's what I forgot. Which actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of interesting that, well, I should say the fact that it costs operations points to change formation gives me the idea that operations points don't equate to orders. It equates to something more than that. Okay. And then the second American turn, the operations points are spent to go into cover.